know what? Unicorn riot might be out here. I know. I follow you. We're trying to find a riot because people want to watch.
Thank you for the power and her vision and the people who are going to support each and every one of us that are present. The hedge of protection around all of the black and other employees of color within Costco. Yes, Father God, that you uproot the things that are not of you, Father God. Father God, and fill this space, fill our government with all things that are of you, Father God. Father, although things may seem scary, Father God, and our things are out of control, Father God, we're trusting your word, but you say that you are in control of everything, Father God. So we walk and we move with you at the center of everything it is that we do. In the mighty, matchless, omnipotent, all-powerful, mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Testing.
You want to go up?
Like different way away from our microphones.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is it going to interfere if we use this microphone?
Yeah, it will.
It will it back.
Okay, so
We need it for our okay, as long as we move it back. Just
We're pointed that direction over there.
okay.
point it that way? Okay. Point it that way.
Ask
You got enough for it to get a fire
here and then ask whoever's standing in solidarity.
This is not good. Just make sure you have the cable to get down in front.
Is she good right here, or do you need to move
Is this
this?
okay?
She's
Right up to that podium.
You gotta be on the podium.
Okay.
Bring that mic with you.
I need to just want to make sure it's okay to use this.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, I got one here and one here. I'm trying to accommodate everyone. Yeah, I know they're going to move.
Yeah, I'm gonna move you.
Thank you all for being here. We are about to get started. If you are here standing in solidarity with us as a Minnesota resident, please come on this side. You're more than welcome to join us, white allies included. This is a multiracial effort. Give yourselves a hand, because you guys came out, you heard the call, and you decided to challenge the status quo. Let's move around so we have, okay. Great, this is a wonderful turnout. Thank you guys. Okay. You guys can fill on in a little bit. Is that okay for you all who are?
Right.
Okay.
Let's have people.
And then we have signs as well. We want to make sure the signs are visible. This sign, come on over to this side if you
Come
can.
up. No target side.
Yeah, the no
Yes,
target.
that sign. Yes,
And
and the
another one
other
can slide
sign.
this way. You can come all the way down
We
this
actually
way.
have stuff
Come on this side.
Okay.
Or if you want to go down,
Yeah, but I can bend down like.
for only a few minutes.
Yeah.
I know I should brought you like a jacket to sit.
Right.
Okay.
Should we open with this?
With what?
With this?
What are you talking about?
You want to open with the card?
If you want to. Yeah. Okay. If you all enjoyed the beautiful music when you walked up, let's give the Brass Solidarity Band a big round of applause. For those who may not know, the Brass Solidarity Band participates in a number of our protests calling for police accountability. They were very active after the Minneapolis police killing of George Floyd, and we are grateful for their time, their energy, their sacrifices, and their beautiful artistry that they share with all of us. Let's give them another hand. So with that, we're going to get started. My name is Nakima Levy Armstrong. I am a civil rights attorney, activist, and founder of the Racial Justice Network. As you all know, we are here today to raise our voices in opposition to Target Corporation's decision that they announced just last week to roll back their diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, policies, and investments. We find that to be completely unacceptable. We also believe that this decision was not made independently by Target, but it was made as a result of the pressure that is coming from the White House and the administration under Donald Trump. This decision also was released publicly the day after Donald Trump and his associates sent out memos asking federal employees to identify any and all staff who have positions and titles connected to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We know that Donald Trump does not want to see a robust, diverse America.
That's right.
And the browning of America, which is inevitable. So it is best for us to be open to people from different racial and ethnic backgrounds, different religious practices, and who may have a different understanding of what life should be. But the reality is that we all make up the fabric of America, and our presence in this country should be embraced. So for some reason, Target didn't understand that its decision was not only offensive, but it's bad for business. Many of us were regular Target shoppers before they made their announcement. And many of us were stunned that Target, one of the companies that stepped forward in the aftermath of the Minneapolis police killing of George Floyd and helped to just make the decision that they were going to invest more in diversity, equity, and inclusion after that significant tragedy. We thought that they would hold the line. We thought that they would continue to stand for the values that we all hold dear. But instead, they acted cowardly, and they made the decision to bow down to the Trump administration. Well, we are here today saying we will not bow down. We will not step back. And we will not turn around. We are united as a people. And we will stand against fascism. We will stand against evil. We will stand against these attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion. So that is why we are all here today. So as a symbolic gesture, before I call up the next speaker, I want Shantel Allen to join me at the podium.
Black lives!
Black lives! Black lives! Black lives! Black lives! and for girls, most importantly, black shoppers. It feel like, you know, we just don't matter. And this is, I'm gonna open up with this. Allies are coming forward and asking us to cut up their Target cards.
That's right.
Cut it. Cut it up.
Boom.
You cut it.
It is done. We're done.
Cut it.
So, that's step number one. We're not shopping. We're calling for a boycott. But historically, let me just point this out to you guys, because I think a lot of people don't understand a lot of these connections around our.
That's my card.
Okay.
That's my card.
Okay, we're cutting up cards today. Boom. Boom. Cut. Cutting up cards today. So a lot of people don't really understand or even connect all of these dots together, but you know about the 13th Amendment and its exception, and that prison laborers, people who are in prison, are technically slaves in the United States of America.
That's right.
And for those of you who are like, wait, what? No, think about it. They only make 25 cents an hour. The healthcare system is horrible. The food is horrible. They don't have a right to education when they get out. They don't have a right to a job or housing. Who else in America lives like that? Let's go back 400 years, it was slaves. That's who lived like that. And when we look at technically what's really going on, in a lot of places, these prisons are still sitting on plantation.
Yes.
Specifically in Louisiana, they're sitting on a plantation where they produce products for Target. Target. Riceland products, Frosted Flakes, ballpark, hot dogs, all of these things, Sesame Street toys, all of these products are produced by slave labor here in America right now, while these corporate folks are making all this money. We are currently trying to change that legislation in Minnesota, and I call on Target to get behind it. We need to reclassify slaves in prisons as workers. There's no reason why in 2025 we should have slavery going on and we should have big corporations, multi-billion-dollar corporations, making money off of that.
Yes.
Where is our moral compass? Where is Target's moral compass? Yeah, I know. I knew I was going to hear it. There is no moral compass, you know? And they tried to front to us after the George Floyd situation by implementing some of these ideas. But did they really implement the initiatives? Did people actually really make the money? Or did they just do it for show? And as soon as the politics shift, they just pulled out. Do they really care about black and brown people? And this is showing that. And so we're also standing with Nikema Levy Armstrong and Black Lives Matter. We are calling for a boycott. We want people to stop spending their dollars in these places that have no moral compass. Let's stop spending our dollars in these places that don't care about humans. Until we take a stand, they will continue to perpetuate the same evils from 400 years ago. Trust on that.
Thank you, Shantel. Shantel spoke a lot of truth in her remarks, because one of the things that people don't understand is what has happened behind closed doors at Target. Target has enjoyed a really wonderful reputation publicly for the money that it has put out into the community, for the stances it has taken around diversity in the past. But Target has also been very much involved in some of the issues that have oppressed black people in this country, including their surveillance program, in which they have worked hand in hand with law enforcement agencies to help surveil some of our most vulnerable people in the city of Minneapolis and in the state of Minnesota. They've even trained law enforcement officers in surveillance techniques. And there was a story that was published last year through Unicorn Riot, which is here today, where they connect the dots between Target and their involvement in the Hennepin County Attorney's Office in funding initiatives that led to young black boys in particular, many of whom were innocent, being brought into the criminal justice system. Target has never had to answer for some of these practices, but their stance on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives allowed us to be able to peel back the curtain and see the truth of what Target really stands for. So with that, I am going to call up our next speaker, Jalani Hussein, who is the Executive Director for CARE Minnesota, and who is a longtime advocate for racial justice. Jalani.
Thank you, Nikita. I want to just start off by saying and taking us back to 25 years ago. The world, for the first time in a long time, became one human family after the threat of the COVID pandemic. We were all vulnerable across this world. And in that moment, out of the wisdom of God, God chose to show the ugliness of police brutality here in Minneapolis and the death and the murder of George Floyd. And in that moment, everyone saw not only the murder of a police department, but what they also saw is the brutality, the discrimination, the gaps that exist in this country. And for the first time, no industry can say that they were truly equal, that they were truly doing a diverse and inclusion in their industry, from Hollywood to even our grocery stores and stores like Target. And in that moment, real people decided to stand up and say, not anymore. It included people in leadership of Target and other places who said, this is the time to begin to look inside and see what we can do to make sure that we create an environment where we see everyone as equal and everyone treated fairly, knowing that Black and brown, indigenous people in this country have not gotten their fair share anywhere. And if you would have told me in those summers and the months and to come that we would be here today talking about Target reversing its decision, I would personally say I couldn't believe that.
Right.
I want you to know that if a company like Target wants diverse customers,
Come on, say it.
how can they demand now that they don't want a diversity in their workforce? You might as well just start putting up signs like the old days says, white only. Because the reality is that's what you're projecting back to the community. We have made significant progress in the last 5 years. We're not going to deny that. There's a lot of great things that have come forward. But this decision by Target, especially Target, the company that has its headquarters in Minneapolis, the city that became known and will be known for the murder of George Floyd, for history and time to come, Target cannot. And we here in Minneapolis today, the good people of this state, are saying to our friends all over the country, if you were moved to do something good after the murder of George Floyd, it is time for you to stand up and boycott Target now. And there are a lot of people, there's a lot of people who believe boycotts don't work, but they do work.
Yes, they do.
It has been part of the civil rights movement in this country for far too long. Boycotts work. Go ask Starbucks about what a boycott can do to you. Go ask those companies that are now thinking about what this means for them. And I want you to know that you choose where your dollar goes. Dollar diplomacy works. You choose where your dollar goes. And if you choose to give your money to companies who value you, not only at the cashier register, but inside the corporate headquarters, and not just inside the headquarters, but even at the C-level suite and the CEO positions.
That's right.
Because in Minnesota, we know that in the metro areas are going to be becoming more diverse, about 43% people of color by 2030. That is the projection. But there's something that is not changing. While we as a community is changing, every CEO level position or higher level position in any industry, whether you talk about nonprofit or government or in the corporate sector, has not changed.
That's right.
It is predominantly white, male dominated. That's all it is.
Right.
And studies have shown that if you remove the names from a resume, more people of color will get jobs. I want you to think about that.
That's right.
If you remove the names from the resume, more black people will get jobs.
That's right.
This is what we have been fighting for, and we're not going to let that happen. And so we're asking for two things. One, we're asking for those who are working inside Target to start speaking up too.
That's right.
Because your talent deserves to be in a company that sees you and values you. And second, to all the shoppers, there's a lot of places you can go. Target is not the only one that sells diapers. Target is not the only one that sells food. Target is not the only one that sells clothing. There are a lot of other companies, including Costco and others, that are saying we are not turning back. And we need to stand by those who are saying we are not turning back. And the last ask is for Minnesotans. For Minnesotans. If we started here, like we are today, and we began this boycott, I promise you, before the end of Black History Month in February, Target will reverse its course. But it's up to us. It's up to us. It's up to us. And for those vendors who benefited from the horrible tragedy of the murder of George Floyd and the change of culture that happened in Target, we want you to know that this reverse not only hurts you, but it hurts the future entrepreneur. That's right. It hurts you yourself. So know that the community has your back, not Target. That's right. And the community will continue to support you in many different ways. This day is a day that we need to speak up. That's right. And as you see these cards being cut your cards and bring it to Target. Let them know your stuff.
Thank you, Jalani. Let's compare the decision by Target stakeholders, those in positions of power at Target, to roll back their DEI policies. Let's compare that to a company like Costco. Now, I know a lot of people are shifting their shopping to Costco, and that's up to you. We're not saying shop at one particular company over the other. People have different needs. They have a lot of options. Use your options that are available. But one thing that is important to point out about what happened with Costco is the fact that their board of directors, 100% of them, asked the shareholders to not roll back DEI policies. And 98% of shareholders agreed to not roll back DEI policies at Costco. Now that's what I call leadership in this area, and that's what we were expecting from Target Corporation. Next, I'm going to call up Monique Cullors, who is one of the co-organizers of today's action and is the founder of Black Lives Matter Minnesota. Monique.
Thank you everyone for coming out. Thank you to our independent journalists as well as our commercial media. This is extremely important that we push back against this anti-Black narrative that's going across the country with DEI as if it only benefits Black people who are not qualified. First of all, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, benefits anyone who has been typically marginalized. That's right. So that is LGBTQ, that's people with physical disabilities, that's the Latino community, that's the Asian community. So it benefits the greater good. Because when our companies look like the communities in which they are rooted, we get better outcomes. Better outcomes in the job place, better outcomes in the products that are put out, and it increases job satisfaction. That's right. So that's what it does internally. But externally, people are getting opportunities because many people don't have an uncle, a dad, a mom, someone that they can call up and say, hey, I need a job this summer. Get me in. Now I've got an internship. Now I've got a job when I get out of school. And so part of the pushback against DEI is that it is limiting opportunities for people who have had that privilege reserved for their children and their grandchildren. That's right. So we have to look at the bigger picture. But also, we need to point out that these companies, we're talking about Target today because they're based here in Minnesota, but this applies to all these companies as well, that these companies want to reap, but they're not willing to sow. They want to take, but they don't want to give back. Right. So for Target and all these other companies, and we're on the cusp of Black History Month, let me point out some of the contributions that these companies are taking advantage of and using. So the retail store counter was invented by a Black man. So Target, you should think about removing your guest services counters and having your people hold the merchandise when they're shopping for a return. When you close your stores at night, you should remove your security system because the security system was invented by a black woman. When your delivery drivers are out, you should remove the GPS from their vehicles because GPS was invented by a black woman. And when you buy your vehicles, buy electric vehicles because spark plugs was invented by a black man. So stop reaping where you're not willing to sow. And while you're being racist in your jobs and your positions and closing opportunities for other people, take your racism home. So when you get sick, when you go to the hospital, don't use an IV because the IV bag was invented by a black man. If you have trouble with your heart, don't get a heart transplant. That procedure was invented by a black man. Do not accept any treatment based off the thousands of benefits from Henrietta Lacks. Shut yourself off from reaping where you're not willing to sow.
That's right.
My people have done too much for this country to sit back and take the behavior which we are seeing from the top down.
That's right.
And it's time that we continue to stand out and stand up against the rhetoric that is dividing this country, and it's because oil and water do not mix.
That's right.
So we have to be very clear. We have to speak the truth to these false narratives and not accept what we are hearing from commercial media, what we're hearing from the White House, what I heard from the White House in a press conference on my way here. It's time to stand on truth, because if you have to lie to get your way, you should probably move out of the way.
That's right.
Say that.
So when I say DEI, you say matters. DEI! Matters! DEI! Matters! DEI! Matters! DEI! Matters! Thank you all for being here. Solidarity.
Thank you, Monique. That was a powerful Black history lesson that Monique just provided that many people aren't aware of. When we as Black people and other people of color apply for jobs, often you will have people say when we get the job, we got it because of diversity, equity, and inclusion, or affirmative action. But the reality is that there has been an affirmative action program for white men for hundreds of years in this country. There's an affirmative action program in place right now at the White House for unqualified and racist white men who are getting jobs that they do not deserve. And that hampers opportunities for the people who are actually qualified to take on those positions. Next, I'm going to call up Sheletta Brundage, who many of you know from her amazing personality on radio, helping to organize people, and organizing amazing programs that uplift Black professionals. She took a stance, a very strong and bold stance in the aftermath of Target's decision to roll back diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Let's welcome Sheletta.
Hey everybody, my name is Sheletta Brundage. I am the founder and CEO of ShelettaMakesMeLaugh.com, and I am here because the amazing and powerful Mrs. Armstrong asked me to come and say a few words. So thank you so much for keeping us together and being our leader.
That's right.
But she is a mother and a wife and a business owner, and she should not be here doing this. I am a mother and an ex-wife and a business owner. I should not be here. My daughter should be getting ready for her orchestra concert tonight, but I pulled her out of school to be by my side. You know who should be here? Any of the alphabet soups that have on their website that they support and stand for Black people.
Say that. Say that.
Where is the NAACP?
Come on, call them out.
Where is MBCRE?
Come on.
Where is the Urban League?
Come on.
Where is MEDA? Where is NDC?
Come on.
Where is NMSDC? These are all companies here in the Twin Cities in the state of Minnesota who are nonprofits whose sole goal, mission, and purpose is to help small Black business owners and Black people like us. Gone are the days where our leaders from these organizations who were on the front line of civil rights for many years, they're not speaking.
That's right.
It's up to moms and dads and sisters and brothers. Why? Because they've taken funding for their galas. They've taken funding to build their computer labs. I spot with my little eye a bullseye on their website. And so when Target rolled back their DEI initiatives, it was me, Nakima, and Pride speaking out.
That's right.
Where's the NAACP? Where's the Urban League? What are we supposed to do? Where are our leaders?
That's right.
We're out here by ourselves, screaming to the wind, because they won't speak up. I am a business owner. I own ShelettaMakesMeLaugh.com. It's a podcast network and promotions company that celebrates Black culture and creativity here in Minnesota. And after George Floyd died, Target made some promises to diversify their ad buys. They promised to spend a certain percentage with Black media. 2 years after Mr. Floyd died, they had not spent a dime. I called every Black media outlet in town and said, girl, did you get that money? Did you get that Target money? And they said, no, I thought you had it. Nobody did. So I had to hold Target's feet to the fire and go on NPR and KSTP and KARE 11 and WCCO radio and ask for the receipts. Where is the money? What Black media outlet have you given a dime to? And they could give no answer. So I got a call to help Target promote their Houston White line in the fall of 2022. That was my big break. That was on my vision board. I had been praying, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. I was running around the house speaking in tongues. And they gave me an opportunity, and I knew as a Black woman business owner that I had to knock it out of the park and exceed expectations, or they would never work with me again.
That's right.
And so I exceeded those expectations. I created a campaign with my children. They were so proud of that, and I got great feedback. They called me again in the spring of 2023 to do the same thing. And you know what that did for my business? Those 6-figure deals? It allowed me to hire 2 people. Come on. It allowed me to upgrade my equipment and pay my contractors and pay some taxes so we could fill some of these potholes in Cottage Grove, right? Come on. Put some street lights up, because I don't mind paying my taxes. But it also showed other companies in town, hey, who is this girl that Target's working with? She must be pretty special. So not only did I get the funding from Target that I earned, but I also got other opportunities. So my business was able to grow. I went from an LLC to an S Corp and made $1 million that year. That doesn't happen without Target. So I can tell you that those supplier diversity initiatives are so vitally important to the growth and development of businesses. And speaking of businesses, the ones who have their products on the shelves at Target should hold Target accountable. Yes. They shouldn't ask us to shop only for their products. Because when Dr. King was boycotting in Montgomery, Alabama,
That's right.
there were no exceptions. Not one Black person got on the bus. Not crippled people, not children, not blind men and women. Everybody walked for 18 months. Do you know how hot it is in Montgomery, Alabama in the summertime? These people wore stockings back then and slips and undershirts. It was hot. And they did not make an exception for Tabitha Brown and Houston White. Nobody got on the bus. And you know why things changed and why we can now sit wherever we want to sit? Because somebody had to take a stand.
That's right.
She was alone on that bus by herself. And we are all here today so that Nakima Levy Armstrong will not be out here by herself. She is our Rosa Parks. She is the leader of the modern day civil rights movement here in Minnesota. Turn around, Cameron. This is my daughter. I pulled her out of school. Don't tell. I told her teacher she was sick. Don't tell the teacher. That is Nellie Stone Johnson on Cameron's back. Who is Nellie Stone Johnson?
She was the first. Wait a second. She was a civil rights activist and union organizer. She was the first African American to be elected official in Minneapolis, and she shaped Minnesota history for 7 years.
That is Nellie Stone Johnson. I shouldn't still be out here fighting Ellie Stone Johnson fight.
Right.
This fight should not still be happening. I don't want to fight the same fight that my grandmother fought, and I don't want my daughter to be out here with Nakima's daughter in 20 years fighting the same battle. Which is why we have to make our voices heard now. We have to create lasting change, and we have to stop shopping at Target.
That was so powerful, and Sheletta was insistent on bringing her daughter, and I said I'll bring my daughter too, because we said they represent the next generation. We don't want them out here having to do this. We want there to be equality and justice, and for them to know that when they apply for a job, they will be treated fairly. When they create products, they will have a fair opportunity for those products to be on the shelves. So thank you, Sheletta, for your commitment to justice and speaking your truth. And also telling Target Corporation, I don't want the $10,000 that you offered me.
That was Amazon.
Oh, Amazon.
Amazon gave me $10,000. I'm sorry, girl, my time was up.
No,
Okay,
no, go
but I
ahead.
want to make sure we get this right. So, I'm having an event called Black Entrepreneurs Day at the Capitol on February 3rd, on Monday, at 10 a.m. It's where 500 black business owners come to the Capitol, and we rally and we lobby with our legislators. And Amazon gave me $10,000 to sponsor the event, and they were sending me a team of volunteers so that I wouldn't have to hire people. And when I found out that they rolled back their DEI, I gave them their money back and canceled their speaker and told them don't send me any volunteers because before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave.
Thank you, Sheletta. Next, we'll hear from Raisha Williams, who will share her experience having products connected to Target Corporation. Raisha?
So I have a relationship with Target on 3 different levels. I was a contractor with Target as an employee contractor. I was a business owner with Heritage Tea, and I was a customer. And on all 3 relationships, I have felt disrespected, disregarded, devalued, and unappreciated. As a contractor employee with their creative suite, for 6 months, I and a team of maybe 3 other black employees were the only people of color on that level out of 300 employees. And when we would meet, we would each discuss on how we were mistreated in a certain meeting. And as I start to realize, as we would go around and talk about our different experiences and exchange the way we felt and how we were being mistreated, all of them were sick. And I turned to them as the newest member on the team and I said, Target is making you sick. And I started asking other employees of color that I knew that had left there or were still there, how was your experience? And they would say, I almost sued them. And so I'm telling you, as somebody who worked on the inside, how I felt. But that was before George Floyd. So after George Floyd, I thought, woo, Target stepped up. They have a DEI program. They're out here and they're saying they're going to support black businesses. Let me step forward as a black business who owns a tea line and see if they would support me. And so my family, my mom, Rosemary Neville, and my sister, Kendra Pearson, we all stood up and said, we want to be on your shelves. We want to do the program. So we went through the program with them. We went through the steps of a year of doing training and learning their system and all the things that it would take to be a successful product line on their shelves. And afterwards, with no promise beforehand, they said, we'll put you on our e-commerce site. And after you do the e-commerce site for a year and your sales are there, we'll put you on the shelves. Well, after a year and a half of shipping, drop shipping, that cost us 50 cents. So we weren't making any money. We were being charged 50 cents to send out our products. Do you know how that devastating that is for a small business? Not even make a dime on your product. And while the products were flying off the shelves and customers were supporting our product and they loved the brand, we couldn't keep up because we couldn't afford it. We were losing money. And I have endless emails with Target saying, hey, we need to get on your shelves. This isn't working for us. We've looked at the numbers. We've looked at the strategy. And the only way we can make money and stop losing money is if you go on our shelves. Do you think that we ever got a reply?
Wow.
The buyer changed and they gave us a new buyer. I sent her an email for a whole year. Throughout the year, I would follow up with her. Hey, we're still here. Hey, we're still here. And not once out of all the times in that whole year that I sent her emails did she ever respond. Now we'll call saying, you know what, your numbers weren't right. You know what, we just changed. We decided to go a different direction. Nothing. And lastly, as a customer who shops at their Midway University Avenue store, I was appalled, disgusted, and I felt ashamed when I walked in there and the detergent that I like to purchase had been locked up. Do you hear me? Locked up like I was a criminal. That's right. So I walk over to the toothpaste to grab my toothpaste, and that was locked up. Then I walk over to the vitamin section to get the vitamins for me and my children, and that was locked up. All the daily essentials that I have gone into their store and spent at the minimum $300 every time I walk in there, because you know you grab their dollar low section and then you go to the clothes section because they got everything you want, right? So you spend all your money there because you get everything at once. Every time I walk out of Target, I'm spending $300. And you mean to tell me that not only am I spending my money with you, but while I spend my money with you, you're going to criminalize me. So I go out to Woodbury and Edina just to check to see what was going on out there. Do you know that not one item was locked up? Not one. I was just in Edina last week, no, 2 weeks ago, before everything took place. And I still was appalled that Edina had not been locked up. So then I drove out to Woodbury, and Woodbury was still not locked up. The only place that was locked up was a place that was predominantly people of color. So they have been telling us we devalue from the employee standpoint. They've been telling us, even though they said it on big lights, that we appreciate and value black businesses, they don't. Especially the small ones with small platforms. They didn't. And as a customer, not only we're going to take your money, but we're going to treat you like the criminals we believe you to be. So in all of the relationships I've ever had with Target, I feel like I've been in an abusive relationship. And even though I was being mistreated, devalued, discarded, I still supported them. But today I say no more. I'm calling for businesses to stop selling in Target. I'm calling for people, myself, Monique, Shantel, who have cards with Target, cut them up and place them at the front door of Target, around the nation. Cut your cards up and place them at the front door. And stop purchasing anything from Target. There are plenty of other stores. I know it can be convenient, but make your list of all the stores that you can go to get all your needs met, and let Target know, even though they have everything, they're not the only ones.
Next, we'll hear from Rosemary Neville, who is a long-standing activist in the community, an elder, as well as the mother of Raisha Williams. Miss Rosemary? Let's give her a hand, y'all. Miss Rosemary shows up at protests and everything else, and she keeps the rest of us in line.
That's what elders do. I want to thank the media for coming out.
That's right.
Because we need to get this message out nationally and internationally. I'm not going to talk long. Couple of things. There's a young lady that works at Target still, and she told me, Miss Rosemary, every day I go to work, I'm afraid of being fired. And she's been there for years, so can you imagine what kind of stress she's under? Yes, boycotts work. As the sister alluded to, we shut down the Montgomery bus department back in the 60s, and you know, it's a sad day when you have to look back 60 years. I would never think that we would be in this place. This country, the hatred, the racism, the violence. And I need to say, it doesn't matter if you're a Republican, Democrat, or in between. That's right. All these people care about is money. That's right. The billions. It doesn't matter if you're black, you're white, you're Asian, you're Native. It doesn't matter. We're going to all be victimized by this process. Yes. So be aware. There's a lady on CNN the other day, she was just crying, Hispanic lady. I didn't know this was going to happen. Believe what people tell you. The man said he's getting rid of 1 million people. Believe it and protect your children, because your children are going to be really victimized being in these schools all day with no protection. So get into these schools once a week or so, check on your children and what's going on with them. We know they got this prisoner pipeline system set up. So just be vigilant and know that we're gonna all have to do this together. Like I said, it doesn't make any difference if you're a poor Republican or a poor Democrat. You're gonna be victimized like everybody else. And I think people are realizing that now. The other day when he put this crazy madness out there, the only thing that was gonna be covered was Medicare and Social Security. And boy, did the seniors rise up, because a lot of 2 million seniors get Meals on Wheels. You know, they wanted their food. I mean, Head Start, so many things are going to be cut, and still may be. So we got to stay vigilant. Like we did in the 60s. It's sad we have to go back to that. But say every 50, 60 years, they say, we have to just go back through history because it repeats itself.
That's right.
So everybody be healthy, take care of yourselves, and stay out here with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rosemary. Next, we'll hear from Treyon Cruz, who is a co-founder of Black Lives Matter Minnesota, and he is leading the charge for reparations in this state.
Yeah.
Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black dollars matter. Black dollars matter. Black businesses matter. Black businesses matter. I want to thank Nakima Levy Armstrong and Monique Cullors for bringing us together today. And Jalani Care Minnesota, Black Lives Matter Minnesota, and Racial Justice Network. You guys did a great job of calling this out.
Yes.
According to Demos, the racial wealth gap is substantial. According to the Minneapolis Federal Reserve, according to the Brookings Institute, the racial wealth gap is substantial and is driven by public policy decisions.
That's right.
Public policy decisions are made by politicians and lawmakers like President Donald Trump. Public policy decisions are also made by corporations like Target and Amazon. So I strongly encourage black businesses who buy in bulk to get you a Costco card.
Yeah.
Not that we're encouraging hyper-capitalism, but if you're doing business and you're black, this is where you can buy in bulk at, instead of going to Target. In the spirit of the bus boycott that took place in 1955, sparked by Rosa Parks, in the spirit of the black activists who organized against white store owners who operated in black neighborhoods and refused to employ black workers, don't buy where you can't work, is the movement right now. We encourage black families and communities and those who value diversity to support black businesses directly, whether it's through their storefronts or through their websites. Build black, buy black, and bank black. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Treyon. Next, I'm going to call up one of our allies in our movement for racial justice, a woman by the name of Cheryl Persal, who has stood with us side by side as we have advocated for racial justice. Recently, she wrote a letter from her own perspective that appeared in the Star Tribune, I believe yesterday, calling out Target's decision to roll back diversity, equity, and inclusion. Cheryl is going to read her letter to all of us. And the reason that we want Cheryl to read her letter is to remind white allies that you have a role in standing up for justice. You have a role. Your voice matters. Your buying power matters. And a lot of these decisions that Target Corporation and these other companies are making them because they feel that white people won't mind if they roll back diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. That they're not going to say anything, that they'll keep shopping at their stores. But as you can see from the white allies who are here today, they are taking a unified stand with us and saying we will not continue to shop at Target. We will use our voices and we will not back down. So let's give it up for Cheryl Persal.
I'm Cheryl Persal. I'm a citizen of Minneapolis and a former Target customer. And I invite everyone who looks like me, who is watching this or listening to this to stand up and stand with and cut up your card.
Yeah.
Here's my letter to Target. Dear Target Board and Executives, I have been an enthusiastic customer of Target for almost 40 years, precisely because of your reputation as a generous and engaged employer and corporate citizen. The groundbreaking work you've done as a culture change agent in welcoming LGBTQIA+ community members as employees and customers, and in supporting and affirming the lives and work of Black, Brown, and Indigenous employees, vendors, and customers is best in class. So I was shocked and angered by your decision to step back from your commitment to DEI within 36 hours of similar actions being taken by the new federal administration. What are you thinking? Apart from this being an act of corporate cowardice, how can you possibly believe this will be good for business?
That's right.
I strongly encourage you, excuse me just a moment. I strongly encourage you to reconsider this decision and reinstate all DEI initiatives, practices, and commitments immediately. It's not the mistake, it's the recovery.
Right.
Until then, my family and hundreds of my friends and family will not be shopping at Target. Sincerely, your former customer, Cheryl Persal.
That's the kind of stance that we are expecting from white allies here in Minnesota and around the nation who understand the importance of this moment. Next, we will hear from Marquise Armstrong, who is a longtime activist in this community and is one of the people who formulated a collaborative focused on mental health in the Twin Cities. Marquise. Oh, and a business owner. Oh, and my husband. Yes.
I wear many hats, as you can tell. Again, my name is Marquise Armstrong. The amazing woman who spoke before me, Cheryl Persal, and her husband. This past Christmas, I helped to empty out their living room, dining room, and several rooms in their houses with boxes of toys for 1,500 to 1,800 children that we gave out to. And those boxes and those toys were all from Target. We filled up a full-size U-Haul to bring them over to Zion Baptist Church so we could bless the community that we love, that we serve, and that we are a part of.
You bought those. You bought those, right?
Yes, they were bought. They were not donated.
That's right.
So there were thousands and thousands of dollars spent for that one event with Target to support black and brown children. And so we have been supporting you because, as it has been mentioned, after George Floyd, you made this huge commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. To stand up as a leader in Minneapolis, in the Twin Cities. And we love that. We appreciated that. But the moment that Donald Trump and his goons got into power and made their beliefs, their racist beliefs and practices and ideology common and even acceptable, you folded. Like a lawn chair.
Yeah, right.
You folded. Just a couple of days after that. So that begs the question, how sincere were you in your efforts?
That's right.
That you can just let go of what you did. That was deemed as good. It has also been mentioned that diversity, equity, and inclusion is good for everyone.
That's right.
Monique gave you all a great history, a history lesson in all that, it's not all, some of the things, a minute amount of the things that African Americans had contributed to this country and even to this world.
That's right.
And you're not willing to invest, but you are willing to harvest.
Yeah. Right.
So what that says to me is that you are opportunistic.
Yes, that's what they are.
In your ideology.
That's right.
You see something that you think will benefit you, and you jump on that bandwagon. But the minute the door is open for you to step out of that,
That's right.
you step right through that door.
That's right.
And you are joining with Donald Trump and his cronies and his goons to devalue, underestimate, and unappreciate all of the contributions that all of the people of this country, have contributed to us. It's not just the things that Monique talked about. I even, as she was speaking, I was thinking about the light bulb that goes around the light to hold the filament. It was a black man that created that, but all we hear about is Thomas Edison, right?
Right.
And we could go
the traffic light.
we could go on and on and on about the things that we have, our ancestors have contributed to this world. I also want to just say, it's all coming from the top. Our governor, Governor Walz, he has an initiative. I know it because I do work through my church with funding through the state. And so I'm in a lot of meetings with the governor's office and a lot of meetings with the state of Minnesota. And I know that he has an initiative called One Minnesota. That we come together as one. That all state organizations and departments become anti-racist. But what I am seeing, even at that level, what's happening in Washington, D.C. with Donald Trump and his goons, it is beginning to affect the work at the state level. And it's rolling into the corporate area. And that's why Target, who my daughter loves Target. She loves going to Target.
Loved it. We all do.
Excuse me, past tense. Loved going to Target.
That's right.
So we will be shopping at Costco's as well, and we will find other places where we can get our products, our basic necessities. So I implore everyone in Minnesota and everyone across this country to take a stand, to not fold to this bigoted, racist ideology that's coming from the White House.
That's right.
Thank you.
Okay, we have one last speaker before we take questions. That is Shantel Allen, who runs an organization called Love First that focuses on young people of color and helping to meet their basic needs. She's also a longtime frontline activist, and she's a part of Black Lives Matter Twin Cities. Let's welcome Shantel.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Target companies got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Target companies got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Target companies got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Target companies got to go. As my sister Raisha Williams mentioned earlier, Target has been not only rolling back their DEI initiatives, but they continue to criminalize people in the Black and brown communities that they're supposed to be providing products for, and steady taking the money from Black and brown people in our communities. We just found out that they have a crime lab. Target has a crime lab that helps local police departments do their crime investigations. Yet, they have refused, they're rolling back DEI initiatives, and they haven't invested dollars into the community that they're supposed to be servicing. You can invest dollars into having a crime lab, but you cannot invest dollars into helping these communities whose family members have been slain in these streets at the hands of police departments that you are helping to help them get justice for their family members. That is not only George Floyd, that is Philando Castile, that is Jamar Clark,
who was murdered here, where these headquarters are. That is Cordell Handy, and many, 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 many other names that have been murdered by police officers in the street. Many other people, not just names. There are more than names, there are people. Not only does Target criminalize us and roll back their DEI initiatives, but they don't invest dollars into nonprofits and black-led, women-led nonprofits like ours who invest in young people to pursue their success by exposing them to higher education institutions, by taking them on college tours to HBCUs. If Target would invest dollars into nonprofits that invest into HBCUs, they would be investing into the education of black and brown young people and career advancement and development for these young people to become the very same doctors that are providing these medicines, the very same doctors and nurses that are creating vitamins, the very same people that are working for Target right now, some of whom are alumni of HBCUs and are very talented and very skilled at the marketing, the social media, and whatever other things that they provide for Target. And so my call is on Target to invest dollars into the community. Invest dollars into the very same communities that you are robbing day in and day out, taking our money and investing your resources into the enslavement and lack of education and oppression of our people. Thank you.
So as you can see, we have very legitimate reasons for calling for a nationwide boycott of Target stores beginning on February 1st of this year.
Yes.
Contrary to some of the remarks from some of the black business owners who are asking people to come into Target during Black History Month and only buy their products, we are asking people to go on their websites and buy directly from those black companies, because Target will not see a single one of our black dollars, not even during Black History Month. That is how we will honor our ancestors and the people who came before us and the people who paved the way of what it truly means to fight against racism, white supremacy, and oppression. So with that, we will take some questions if there are any from the media.
Fatima, what actions do you have planned in the coming days to get people to join the boycott? And second, has Target leadership reached out to you or other civil rights organizations about this?
Thank you, Steve. Target leadership has not reached out to me or any of the other black leaders who are taking a stand. We would welcome for Target to contact us, but even more importantly, we welcome them and we expect them to roll back their decision, to roll back diversity, equity, and inclusion. They need to reverse that decision immediately. That would be the starting point for any conversation with Target. It is non-negotiable from this perspective. And then your other question?
What actions do you have planned in the coming days to publicize this?
So we have actually partnered and connected with a number of national organizations that are in alignment with this boycott, that are helping to get the word out. So you will see more on social media and in the media about this. There will also be, from my understanding, a demonstration. We are not organizing, but we support, that is happening on Monday. And it may happen here. Once I get the information, I will share it on my Facebook page, and many others will share it as well. So expect the unexpected in terms of us turning up the heat and the pressure. Maybe I shouldn't say turning up the heat, but turning up the pressure on Target Corporation until they decide to reverse course. They're going to understand the power of the black dollar and the power of our allies in making decisions to spend our dollars elsewhere. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, Jalani, you said you had something you wanted to add.
Well, I think one of the things that I wanted to just add was, when we talk about DEI, there's this belief that they're letting us in. I want you to understand something. Some of the most capable people are people of color.
That's right.
Companies are losing out by not allowing people of color at the table and in senior level decisions. In fact, it costs them money not to have us there.
That's right.
So I want to reverse the conversation because I want you to know that many of these companies today are heavily reliant on young engineers who look like me, who are creating the next products for them that is making them self-profit. And it's those engineers that are not being given the opportunity to move up.
That's right.
So I want you to know that DEI is actually a loss for companies who do not engage in it. This is not a social project for the community. It's a responsible corporate decision to make sure your company can profit and your company can make successful gains by looking at talent. And talent is in DEI. Talent is in DEI. And the last thing I'm going to say is this, because DEI is not perfect. We've seen that. It's a process that is working. I've heard for the past year from many Muslim employees who work in corporate offices across Minnesota and other places who felt their voices not heard in the matter of the genocide of Palestinian people.
That's right.
But we did not give up. We continue to ask those people to stand up because we believe in the DEI process.
Yes.
So if there are things to change, we're going to work toward that. But what Target is doing is signaling to the rest of the companies that it's okay to turn back, and we will not accept that. The buck stops with Target and no other person, and no other company. With that, unless there's any questions.
There's a question. Okay.
Did you reach out to the NAACP, local NAACP, and other civil rights groups, and have they not engaged with you in some way?
I didn't reach out to anyone, but the people who I know are 10 toes down, standing for justice. So those organizations know what we're about. We posted online our statements. I had a long dialogue with people in my network over the weekend, asking them how they felt about Target's decision. And there was overwhelming outrage and disappointment from those individuals. So no, we did not reach out to the NAACP or any of those organizations. They know where to find us if they are interested in engaging in this fight.
Oh, can I say something?
Yes.
They need to be reaching out to us.
Yeah.
We are citizens. I'm just a small business owner. I shouldn't be out here doing this. I shouldn't have my daughter out of school. Rosa Parks Jr. shouldn't be out here with her children and husband. The NAACP and the Urban League and MBCRE and all the rest of these people, the Alphabet Soup people who Target pay for their galas and stuff, they should be out here and we should be behind them with the signs clapping. We shouldn't have to open our mouths. And for the narrative of, well, Target is still going to do it, they just have to say it differently. We've heard that, right? Oh, they're going to keep the programs, but they just going to say it in a different way. They're not going to say DEI. That is B period S period. I would say something, but my child is right here and I don't want her to repeat it. Target has lawyers. And if they really care, they will go to court. That's what you do when you're being oppressed by the government. You go to court. They've got Plessy versus Ferguson because we went to court. They've got Brown versus the Board of Education because they went to court. So if they really cared, they would stick to their guns, leave DEI on the website, leave those programs intact no matter who was in office.
That's right.
And they got lawyers. One of them floors got lawyers on it, I'm sure of it.
Right.
They would go to court and fight for the people who have been shopping with them. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, thank you.
I was just going to add to Steve's question. There are a lot of other things that we're looking at, steps. Some of them we're not ready to share publicly. But I wanted to also for the public to know that Target has a lock on Minneapolis. You would wonder why there's no other big box competitor to Target in Minneapolis. That is by design. That is a relationship between the city of Minneapolis. The last actually big box store was Kmart that was, pretty much withered away. And so we're going to look at every possibility to make sure that the citizens of Minneapolis and the state of Minnesota can be the type of citizens that told everybody that after the murder of George Floyd, they want something different. That difference is being rolled back again today. You need to stand up. And so we'll look at many different options, including that, to make sure that Target understands that the citizens are organizing.
Any other questions?
Fatima, just a quick one. mean, why are you focusing on Target when Walmart and McDonald's are doing the same thing? Are you holding Target to a higher standard?
Well, Target is a Minnesota-based corporation. Target was here before, during, and after the Minneapolis police killing of George Floyd. Target knows what its presence and its commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion means to this community. So that is why we are focusing on Target first. But that does not mean that those other businesses should not also be held accountable. All of those businesses should be held accountable, and they should not have access to our dollars. But we honestly expected more from Target than what they showed us when they made their announcement to roll back diversity, equity, and inclusion. It felt like everything that they had done up to that point was merely window dressing and an illusion. And we all feel duped as a result. So we're saying no, not today and not ever. Target will not see another dime of our business unless and until they reverse its course. Any other questions? Yes.
For Target employees who maybe want to join the boycott, or what would you say, how can people who work at Target help?
Thank you. So the question was for Target employees who want to join the boycott, how can they help? I think that the first thing they can do is to speak up. They have a lot of power in terms of banding together and using their voices and letting the people at the top know that they are disappointed in their decision and that it may impact if they continue to work there. Of course, they can decide not to shop at Target as well. We are hopeful that the people in the executive office, particularly those who are people of color, will use their voices and their power to speak the truth about what's happening. And again, the Target employees will make their voices heard. They need to know that we stand with them. That's right. We stand with Target employees because it's not their fault. That's right. They're victims in this too. Just as the black business owners who work so hard to get their products on the shelves, only to be blindsided 1 week before Black History Month. That's right. We stand with them as well. And again, we're encouraging people, go to their websites and buy directly from them. That's right. Any other questions? Okay, so I want to thank you all for taking the time to be here today. We want to thank the media for covering this. This has a lot of value, and your presence affirms what we already know. We want to let the rest of the nation know why we are doing this and to ask them to join us, and your presence helps to make that possible. We want to thank the Brass Solidarity Band again. They're going to close us out. But before they do, Shantel Allen is going to do something as customary when we're on the front lines, and that's lead us in the Assata Shakur chant. And then we'll have the Brass Solidarity Band conclude us. But thank you all, and thank you for everybody who showed up here today, who took time out of your schedules, time off work, and just having the conscience and the spirit to say that we are going to stand against injustice. Thank you all. More to come. More to come. This isn't the end. This is the beginning.
All right, y'all, we're going to close this out. About 7.5 years ago, this beautiful baby was born. I don't know why they said that, but either way. This beautiful baby was born, and their parents were brilliant enough to name her after Assata Shakur. So for those of y'all that don't know who Assata Shakur is, she's a warrior. Yeah. And so I want y'all to look her up, figure out who she is, but in the meantime, you about to learn who this kid is. Because when I looked at her in her face as a newborn baby, I said, one day, baby, you're going to take over my job doing that chant. And that day has come.
Repeat after me. We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to win.
We have a duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to win.
We have a duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our
Thank you all for joining. This is Nico from Unicorn Riot. This was a live stream from downtown Minneapolis where folks have started a national boycott against Target for rolling back their DEI policies and practices. Right there in the background is Brass Solidarity Band. They perform in the Minneapolis local area as well as farther away to a lot of movement spaces at George Floyd Square once a week at least, I believe. So Target is the focus of this press conference. Again, find out more information at unicornriot.ninja. Look at our 12-part investigative series on Target that was published a few years back from 2021 to 2023. Contributor Marjan Serdar made a long effort into exposing the complexities of the private and public partnership that Target has with the county, the community, the city, in funding surveillance, in funding prosecutors' offices, and much more. So go to unicornriot.ninja, find out more information about that. Again, that is a specifically series called Jim Crow in the North Star City series. Again, this was a press conference to start a national boycott against Target. Thank you all for joining. This is Nico from Unicorn Riot. Thank you to Chris for running the back end. We're going to bring the stream down and you all take care. Have a great week. Rest of the week, great weekend. Check out our website, unicornriot.ninja for more. And support our work if you have the ability and the love to see more. You all take care.